So I sure believe Joe Burrow's starting full practices. T. Higgins says he looks great. I mean, the season's on the line. They're 3-7. They got to get going, man. What do you know, Tom? What do you think?
Let's start at where this began, which was Joe Burrow suffering that injury back in week 2. At that time, it was a 12 to 14 week timeline. We are about 10 weeks out from that injury. He is clearly ahead of schedule to the extent that he could be taking some limited reps last week, full reps in 11 on 11 Wednesday and Thursday this week. You also had Zack Taylor today saying officially he is questionable and that he was limited in practice today. Limited can mean a couple of different things. It can mean you are splitting first team reps. It can mean that you are taking scout team reps. Joe Flacco,
heard this
remember?
Story before. We heard
Joe Flacco
yeah.
dealing with a right shoulder injury, couldn't take the reps Wednesday and Thursday. Obviously got some of the reps today. So keep an eye on the participation report today, which might give you a little signal of where Joe Burrow's at for this weekend. They do have to make a roster move if they're going to activate him by Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So we will know within a little over 24 hours here if Joe Burrow is going to be in uniform. And if he's in uniform.
Tom, I feel like this is a few good men, okay? Like, you think I can't handle the truth and I want answers, okay? Like, this is it. You're on the stand. I want answers. I can handle the truth. Come on now. What are we? At least give me a trend. Are we trending? We're trending?
He went from full on Wednesday and Thursday to limited in practice today. If you're looking for a trend, you would say that might be a signal that they are not going to put Joe Burrow out there this week. Listen, and I don't know for certain, but that's the way it's going. I would certainly imagine Joe Burrow at this point is raring to go. But remember, a couple of different factors here, Rich. First off is that timeline.
Yes.
The fact that he is still a couple weeks shy of where the target point was when this began. And as we saw, when Brock Purdy came back in week 4, his injury was different. It was to a different part of the foot. It was not surgical where Burrow needed surgery. But the way the turf toe happens, a lot of the time, it's one of the mechanisms is you plant, you get tackled, and the foot goes like this. Well, you're not getting tackled in practice. Joe Burrow is not at risk of being dragged down from behind and having that foot flexion when he's out there wearing a no-contact jersey in practice. You get that within the game, so there could be potentially a 0.2 error on the side of caution. The other part of this is that Joe Burrow, remember, has not played in over 2 months. They got a quick turnaround to a Thursday night game against the Ravens. And yes, every game is important. I'm not going to do the whole, the Pitt coach recently who said that he doesn't care about this week's game because the other ones, those are the ones that really matter.
We could lose.
I'm not going full Pat Narduzzi here.
Nice.
But I would say you got 2 games in a 2-week span against the Ravens, who, even though they're not on top of the division, they are, based on all the next-gen stats and the analytics, the favorites to win the division. In between that, you got a game against the Bills. Yes, this is a huge game this week against a really good Patriots team. But even if you were to lose this game, that next 3-week span could determine, do you have a shot to sneak into this? Because you got 2 head-to-head matchups against the Ravens team that right now the belief is they might be the team to beat in the AFC North. All of which is a long-winded way of saying, Rich, I don't have a direct answer for you. But again, to the trend lines, full practice Wednesday and Thursday, which means you got all the first-team reps. Friday limited, which means at minimum he was not taking all the first team reps, which means there's at least some level of uncertainty. Or it could also mean they've already determined that, yes, this work was great for Joe and it's all to ramp up because next week, remember, there is no full week of practice. They might have like a light practice on Tuesday. That's all what they would get. Maybe this is a way to give him a full week of work over a 10-day span to get him ready for a Thanksgiving return against the Ravens.
Well, I mean, season's on the line. And if he doesn't go, okay, is that an indication that Zack Taylor is not coaching for his job? You know what I mean? That he knows he's got 1 year left on his deal. Mike Brown's not going to fire him because of that and reason alone. Or legitimately he's not coaching for his job and has been told that. Otherwise, if he's coaching for his job, he's got to get Burrow out there ASAP. Like immediately,
well,
if not sooner.
It is a medical decision, though. And it's a matter of the doctors, along with Joe, along with the coaches, collectively making the decision. I mean, listen, it's an oversimplification, but would you rather win Sunday against the Patriots or would you rather win Thursday night against the Ravens? Not that you can't potentially do both, but which is the more important game? I would say the interdivision game against the team that is favored based on the advanced stats to win the division is probably more important. With regard to Zack Taylor, you're right. He has 1 year left on his contract. He has been one of the lower paid coaches in the NFL throughout his time. Mike Brown has never wanted to pay top dollar for his head coach. And on multiple occasions, Marvin Lewis coached out a contract year. So there's no reason to believe that there's not a scenario here where Zack Taylor simply comes back as a lame duck coach in 2026, that he gets the grace of, hey, you didn't have your quarterback the entire season. Oh, by the way, the two pass rushers you were counting on who weren't there in the spring in Shamar Stewart's case, who weren't there through camp in Trey Hendrickson's case, neither one has really made much of an impact. They've both been hurt. Stewart's on IR. Hendrickson hasn't played in the last several weeks here. There've been a lot of different circumstances. Zack is a successful NFL coach. He has been to a Super Bowl. He has been to the playoffs with this team. He clearly knows the passing game, and they've got a lot of really good weapons here. They've not gotten things right on defense. Obviously they moved on from Lou Anarumo, who was, quite frankly, ready to move on from Cincinnati as well in last offseason. They brought in Al Golden. That hasn't fixed, some of the things that they lack from a personnel perspective, and the injuries have been part of that. We'll see where the season ends up going. Again, they've got a lot out in front of them. They've got those division games. They've got the Ravens twice. But if you're judging by the history of the Bengals and what Mike Brown thinks of Zack Taylor, I would certainly say that if you had to lean, you would lean towards Zack Taylor one way or another, still being the Bengals coach in 2026.
Tom Pelissero here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.